when I was a kid, like I guess freshman year of high school, I started drawing. Well, I've always been drawing and stuff, but it was like drawing on my desk, and then kind of just started drawing in the bathroom in school, and then like, and you know, on the school and like in the alley, and then it just kind of evolved and met people and kind of became a bigger deal, and eventually it just kind of consumed everything. I've done it in broad daylight before. Actually, a lot of people, it depends on who you ask. Some people like will work in broad daylight, like they'll wear like construction gear or something, or like they'll make it look like legal, you know. So it's kind of like so obvious that it, you know, no one would ever assume that it was illegal. But usually you do it at nighttime and under cover of darkness.
That style kind of developed through having to move quickly. Like, I don't know, that's kind of how it came. Like, I had to break it down a lot. It used to be a lot more complicated, but just through necessity, you know.
Going out and like painting and then going to a show. I mean, it's really no different. It's just like, you know, it's fun to have shows in, you know, a show in like a gallery. Just like it's fun to have people see your work on the street.
I think a lot of graffiti artists do that. They sort of transition into the art world, especially nowadays with the sort of art movement that's been happening. And it's able to take that sort of the aesthetic of their identity and just repeating their identity, what they have to say over and over and over. That visual communication, they bring it to like in a painting. They're able to keep it as a painting, so it's essentially what they were doing on the street.
If you look at somebody like Barry McGee, obviously is the person that's gone the furthest and the fastest, in my opinion. I mean, you know, early 90s, you know, he's writing Twist in San Francisco, and people, you know, doing the big heads and stuff like that, you know, and people were just blown away by, you know, his line quality and just, you know, just his ability, you know, it was just so mind-boggling.
But even before him, there was like Keith Haring and Basquiat. So I mean, they're all like in museums, you know, and Barry McGee, like he was saying, it's just another one of them that's already like getting into museums. It's, you know, part of this whole movement.
We recently had a show in here with graffiti artists or artists that started in the graffiti world from all over the country. San Diego, San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Arizona, all kinds of places. One common thread that went through the entire evening was the fact that tag artists are not necessarily graffiti artists. That graffiti artists took their time, knew what they were doing, did a nice job, put some rhythm, flow, thought into their thing, and didn't just, you know, my name is blah, 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 blah. So they're somewhat dismayed in the fact that the art of graffiti has gone downhill so much. And, you know, these guys are younger than me, and the kids that are ruining what they built are younger than them. And, you know, if anything, that's probably the biggest change I've seen.
Like, everybody wants to lump it in one category because it comes out of an aerosol can, and that's about it. But I think that it's kind of on graffiti artists to, you know, kind of take pride in what they're doing. It's just like, don't just, anybody that rushes just to make something, it always looks like they rushed just to make it. And I think that if, you know, people stop doing that and start being a little smarter about like maybe what they're saying or where they're saying it. I mean, like if you go and bomb the front of Bank of America, like the whole point is like to stay up. Well, that's not going to stay up, and all it's going to do is just piss a bunch of people off.
People see it and they get pissed off, and they don't, you know, then like, you know, they don't look at it. They don't, like, they make up their mind really fast typically. And, you know, they see one thing and it's like all the same to them. They're just like, it's all nonsense and it's all garbage and trash. Which is kind of why it's cool. Like that, and that also, like, that gives graffiti writers a lot of freedom because they're not constantly being judged and like compared to one another. I mean, there are in the inner circles and stuff, but among the outside world, it's like, you know, it creates like a little bubble where you can just kind of exist under the radar, and it gives you a lot of freedom to develop as an artist, like without, you know, without the scrutiny of like the art world.
Street art as a whole just needs to, you know, it's like, it's starting to in pockets, but like it just reinvents itself, you know, and that's what needs to happen, because like just going out and tagging a dumpster is just like whatever. I mean, that's like so self-fulfilling, and that's all it is. And maybe that's all it wants to be for those people, but if they really want to actually, you know, get noticed or whatever, like they need to come with some new stuff.
I've always imagined it'd be really cool to make a city that was based on murals and street art where, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to have, you know, sponsored by blah, 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 or blah, 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 this liquor company or cigarette company or whatever. They've always got money to throw around, but you know, just art for art's sake. That's the true definition of culture.